Well, Donald Trump has completely sabotaged Vice President JD Vance's vice presidency, and he might even be in the process of completely destroying any chance that JD has of becoming the 2028 Republican nominee, never mind the next president. I find it delightful. I'm taking pleasure in it, if I'm totally frank with you. It's remarkable stuff. Now, let me kind of remind you what went down and where we are today. Trump, as presidents often do, delegated the negotiations around this Iran deal to JD Vance. We knew that these negotiations were up against pretty tall odds because Donald Trump has claimed the war is definitely over or ending about 40 times at this point. And it was always kind of hard to believe that this was going to be quick and easy as far as negotiations go. And it would wrap up the war and everybody would cheer and strum kumbaya on a guitar. So needless to say, Trump sends JD to Switzerland. They sign a letter which triggers this 60-day period of negotiation to get the deal done. And of course, we all know there's no way that JD Vance is going to be there 60 days. Either this is going to work or it doesn't work. Now, let me remind you, Donald Trump joked about, we know it's not really a joke, but it was presented as a joke, that if the negotiations don't go well, no big deal. Trump's going to blame JD. But if the negotiations do go well, Trump will take credit. And it was all, again, presented kind of as a joke, but it wasn't. Here's the video of that from a few days ago.
Is there some element to this where you send the vice president, if it works out, great, you'll look like a genius for sending him. And if it doesn't work out, it's the vice president.
I like that idea, sure. Well, this way, if it works out, I'm going to take the credit. If it doesn't work out, I'm blaming JD. You better be careful, JD. He's going to turn his plane around and get the hell out of here. Yeah, I like.
Now, of course, we know that this is not really a joke. We've observed Trump for 11 years now as a political presence, and we know that this is exactly the way he operates. Trump has never straight up said, hey, you know what? I messed up. I miscalculated. I got this one wrong. He has never once apologized. So it's not a joke. JD flies to Switzerland. He's not even there 2 days, and the negotiations implode because while JD Vance was trying to negotiate as best he can, which isn't that great, Trump starts posting threats. And he goes on Truth Social, and this is while the negotiations are taking place in Switzerland, and says, quote, Iran must immediately stop their highly paid proxies in Lebanon from causing trouble. If they don't, we'll hit Iran very hard again, just like we did last week, only harder. So Trump issues that threat. And then what happens? The Iranian delegation walks out on JD Vance's negotiations. They lodged a formal complaint with the mediators and threatened back, saying, hold on a second, our military is also going to be ready. So all of a sudden, it's seeming like war all over again. So think about the big picture of how it goes. JD's sitting across from negotiators, and he's there in person communicating, we're serious, we want progress, we want to make a deal, we really want to get this thing over with. And meanwhile, Donald Trump is posting the message, we might bomb you again. And very soon, by the way. So this is becoming a pattern. There's a tough assignment. It's maybe not likely to succeed, especially because Trump is so incompetent. Trump hands it to somebody else. If it succeeds, Trump does try to take the credit. And if it fails, whoever Trump has delegated to, often his vice president, JD Vance, gets blamed. This is the kind of incredible position that Vance now finds himself in, because he's not really negotiating with Iran. He was, although he flew home. He's negotiating with Iran and with Donald Trump at the same time. And based on the last few days, it might actually be tougher to negotiate with Trump than it is to negotiate with Iran. Now, there's a bigger political question in all of this, and we did get into this in some detail on yesterday's show. What if Trump wants JD to fail? Question one. And question two, what if Trump actually benefits in some way from the failure of JD Vance? And what I mean by that is Trump can't run again in 2028. Vance has been seen as the most likely MAGA successor to Trump. But that really only works if Vance can develop his own reputation for competence and leadership. And that seems like it's going to be very difficult for JD to do. Successful negotiations with Iran could help JD as an achievement to build a resume to justify being the nominee. But instead, Vance is actually being put in a position where he has all of the risk. But if he succeeds, Trump claims the reward. Trump will say, my strength and my ability to know that this entire war made sense, blah, 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 is what got us to this point. And otherwise, JD Vance just takes the L and becomes the face of the failure. Now, how is this potentially good for Trump? That's what I want to explain. Trump is a president who has spent his whole political career demanding loyalty, but he's always suspicious of anybody who becomes too popular or too powerful. And so it's not hard to imagine why Trump might prefer a weakened successor rather than a strong one. You might say, well, hold on. Trump's a Republican. He wants the Republican Party to succeed after him. He doesn't want it to immediately fail because that would look bad for Trump. But you're thinking about it the wrong way. Trump wants to be seen as the only guy who could truly succeed. We might think, if we're part of a political party, let me hand it off in a way that allows my successor to win. Trump would want to continue proving the point that he and only he can fix it or do it or whatever. And Trump would love it to be in a situation where, all right, listen, they won't let me run a third time. I guess I won't. I'll leave. And then the Republican Party collapses. And then Trump is reinforced in the idea that he was special. He was the only one who could do it. It would actually feed Trump's ego to see failure in the Republican Party after he's gone. The midterms he cares about. 2028, I'm not so sure. And so he sets up JD Vance to fail, and it seems JD is failing, and maybe that's exactly what he wants. We're going to follow it very, very closely. There isn't one mattress that's perfect for everybody. Some people want firmer, some want softer, some are side sleepers, back sleepers. A mattress that's good for one person might not be the right one for somebody else. That is the idea behind our sponsor, Helix Sleep. Instead of one generic mattress, hoping it works for everyone, Helix sends you a mattress that is based on your specific sleeping needs and preferences. I've been sleeping on a Helix mattress for years now. It fits my sleep style perfectly because before I got it, I took the Helix Sleep Quiz. I answered questions and I was matched perfectly with the right mattress for me. Support, but not too stiff. Cushioning, but not too much. And Helix also has free shipping, a 120-night sleep trial, and a limited lifetime warranty. Helix is giving my audience 20% off site-wide, 25% off Luxe mattresses, and 30% off Elite mattresses. Go to helixsleep.com/Pakman. The link is in the description.